outlets, tons of outlets.
Positive.
But I just wanted something healthy,
Right.
something that kept me engaged, something that got me outside.
Okay.
While working in data analytics, I did a lot of work in the nightlife, a lot as well.
Okay.
So a lot of people, you're always out. I got paid going downtown and setting up shop and see who wants to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And it became, that's what it became. I started practicing my marketing. Essence Fest 2 years ago. I was like, I started going from once again being a consumer to being a provider. And so when there were big weekends, I wasn't out there like that, like I used to be. You would see me at a party like 2:00 in the morning. And that's so I could go and link up with some friends that came down. But I just finished doing a night full of bike tours. You know what I mean? Like I started spending my days at the convention center instead of like observing the atmosphere to actually promoting, you know? Like I just started coming up with the catchy ways to promote. And one of them was like, I just put this flyer on these Mardi Gras beads. So I got these Mardi Gras beads and got these colorful zip tie the flyers, punched holes in the flyer from Kinko's, put them on Mardi Gras beads and handed them out. People went crazy for these beads. Wow. I don't know if they thought they were VIP passes or whatever, but it worked because the business I started, you know, and I've also had very loyal customers. A friend of mine named Lauren, she's one of them. Like she's always been supportive and like, you know, there's some people that just see it and get it. And, you know, so when there are people that don't get it, it will bother you if you have expectations for that person. So don't expect them to get it. And it's okay if they don't. And a lot of times you have to understand that people can only lend what's in their capacity to give. Right. You know, if they've never owned a business, if they've never done it, you can't ask these hard questions to somebody. Right. You know, you don't go to a math teacher asking science questions. Like, or you can't, and even though they're your friend and they get you in so many levels, there's certain things that they just won't know. Right. And that's why you'll get so much negative feedback from somebody. And it's not the unwanted feedback. But it's just, you got to keep taking those steps. But the mental state of it, like, so I know, look, we've been at this a while. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, like, I can't keep talking to you as long as I don't know. I'm going to have to, like, have 5 episodes.
Just do like Vlad and Boosie. Have 42 episodes. Get your YouTube streams up. For all you YouTubers out there, follow Vlad, man. I don't even like his. I don't know the man personally, but his business concept, his YouTube videos, is about streams, right? So he does one interview on Boosie that he used to post maybe once or break it down into 2. So he would have like 1 million streams on this one video. Now he has 1 million streams on 40 videos because he'll give you 5 minutes of Boosie, 5 minutes of Boosie, 5 minutes, you know, so it's crazy. Like they play all kind of numbers with this and games and whatever, but it's just strategies. Right. But
well, I'm gonna have like that many.
My bad.
No, I have so many more things.
That's why I'm like, I don't know how deep you want to go. I can keep going. I'm good. This is on you. Like, look, I'm at work. I don't know what you.
Right.
If somebody comes for a bite, they come. But I definitely appreciate the platform because there's so many people that you don't get to express. You don't have an outlet, and you know the progression. I like the progress of Portia. I love that name because it will lend itself to. I talk to customer up. It will lend itself to giving, you know, to a lot of mental strain that you can't really, like, people don't think it's normal to talk to somebody. But one of the things that I would definitely say is when you're going through entrepreneurship and everything that it comes with it, you don't really know how to handle, you don't realize how mentally taxing it can be. And I think that's with anything new in life, but it's definitely worth it if you can continue to fight the fight. I'm not gonna lie, like I wouldn't change this for the world. I was talking to my mom and we were talking about credit, and I told her, you know, I was working with a firm to get it back to where it needed to be. Right. Excuse me. And I told her, but you know, at the end of the day, I would rather be an entrepreneur with jacked up credit instead of being in corporate with the 800. You know what I mean? Like I just, that's just where my mind is. And it is very freeing. It won't be freeing in the beginning because it will have you stretched in different directions. It will stretch you as a person, it will groom you. But if you can withstand, find that outlet, especially it's during a pandemic. Like, a lot of people have a lot of things going on, so that's why it has to be something like, I would ride bikes for free.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it has to be something you feel that passionate about.
Right.
And I never saw bikes as being a business for mine, ever. Like, ever. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and because I want to be so brutally honest about it, because I don't want people to think that they have to have this lifelong ambition. If you have one, great. But it comes to you sometimes. If you pray for an outlet, if you pray for something different, if you believe in something different, whatever your belief might be. But if you just really trust and believe that you can.
Right.
Especially with myself, I've helped other businesses become successful, whether corporate or outside of corporate. And I saw the value in the product. I saw the value in the service that it provided. So I did have that insight. But that was from an opportunity that I created. Well, I was blessed with. Let me put it that way.
Well, and I think something else that you said was so key is just about being around the visionaries. And that was earlier on. But even like you said, so even if someone's coming to work here for you now, like, one of the things, like, even when I come hang out here, like, part of the reason I like being here is seeing your vision come to, like, seeing that, like, for me, because I want to get to that space. And so just what I have learned is being around visionaries, you gain vision. And so if you don't have your own vision yet, like you said, supporting, being around people, working for people, even if like you said, it may not be for a lot, but at the end of you're gaining so much more than that paycheck.
Yeah, you are. It's no paycheck can replace that.
Right.
That's crazy, because it's like, I say these things to myself, but to hear it like echoed, that's it's just that's just solidification, because I think back to some friends of mine that I helped in different ventures, and they would really ask me, like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like, because they were so used to people looking for something in return, and I really wasn't. It was just for it was actually pretty satisfying, a lot of it, I ain't gonna lie, but the other part was, it was exposure to something new. It kept me busy. In this time, like, there could have been so many times when I did let it bother me, but I didn't. My lights were out for like 2 weeks. And people were like, well, why ain't you telling anybody? Asking me, because I wanted to remember what that felt like. So I would never get so complacent that I could put myself back in a scenario to where my lights would be out again. And even my homeboy I was working with, he was like, so you're up here cold showers every day? Like, we're working. We're still working, but like, I just wanted to really, I needed to process what was going on for me. I need to process, like, for family, like, what it was, and just kind of, so you do, but that's something I had to want for me. And at the same time, like, on the outside, I'm still working. I was around some visionaries, some New Orleans visionaries that really did some amazing things in some different fields, from entertainment to transportation to restaurants to fashion to photography to, like, I really had to open myself up to a different way of thinking. And you do.
I do want to say to those, like, who maybe you want to do something but you don't know what or where, like, just start out by supporting other people, because again, when you're supporting an entrepreneur, a visionary, when you begin to develop relationships just out of sincerity, not because you're trying to get something from them.
Start there.
Be sincere, but be curious. Like, learn about it, learn about them, support them. And the more that you're around that, and the more you start finding yourself around entrepreneurs, the more, again, you can gain vision. It will help you. And it will be a struggle sometimes. And even that was one of the points I wanted to say about friends and family, that sometimes, and it's not every time, but sometimes it may be that they have dreams and aspirations too. And when you see someone else starting to step out, sometimes fear can grip them. Like, I know I should be doing something else too, or I want to do something else too, or sometimes they limit us and put us in boxes, and they just never, or they just don't have the vision for what you're doing. It could be a variety of things, but sometimes our vision, when people are operating in vision, sometimes it makes other people shrink back because there's something in you that if you have an insecurity, a fear, a doubt, that you begin to see their progression as something wrong with you, or or that you're being demoted as they're being promoted, or I'm being overlooked. And so you have to really fight past it. But if you learn to fight past that, eventually, once you get past that inferiority feeling, if you ever feel it, some people may not, but if you ever feel that, then just you can grow in your vision. You may not get the vision initially, because like I said, you may start looking internally like, well, I'm not doing this, look what they're doing, or comparing yourself and looking like, well, look at how much they did and I couldn't start there. Like even though you may have started and you may have had to have some stuff that wasn't perfect, you still had a certain level of skill set. And some people, depending on what you're being called to, like you may feel like you have nothing to start with, and that you have to figure out and let God lead you on that path. And like you said, there are resources around us. And another key thing you said was about people, building relationships with people. Many times now we don't really take the time to just sit and talk to people, get to know them. And when you do that, and when you open up, I believe, and this is something I've been saying, thinking about lately, our answers and I think, no, we were having a conversation. You said it, and I thought about it. I was like, but I always thought about the fact that the things that I need are within the people around me. Typically, I believe that God sends people in our lives for a reason. And if we could just begin to look at the people who are around us and maybe do a little more to, build a relationship, develop connection, you never know what answers that you've been praying about that can be alleviated because you're talking to them, because you're. And then, there may be times that people may ask questions. You're humbling yourself and say, hey, I have you were helping me this evening. Like I said, hey, I'm cool. Go ahead, help me because I'm new to this. And so, and being okay with that. And so
living your reality and your truth.
And I just encourage people to build relationships, to get out your box. And that will help you to begin to even think within and say, what can I do? I have a friend who's from the Bahamas. She said everyone there, I don't know if it's every single person, but a cultural thing is that they raise their children with an ability to have some kind of entrepreneurial skill so that they never have to be dependent on a job. When I heard that, I was like, wow, why don't we do that? Because it's so hard. We are so driven to having a job, that we really and there are people, if you came from a family that did that, great. But for the majority, it's really hard for people to build up that confidence or that space to say, I'm going to do this on my own. And then I know I'm saying a lot, but then
I'm not saying anything because you're saying exactly what needs to be said. You're definitely putting your professional, you're touching from that professional perspective.
And then the last thing where you were talking about is the perfectionist. I think in the African American community, I think sometimes we can do that too much to ourselves, that we have to have everything perfect. And I think because of the negative connotation that we associate or is associated with our community sometimes, that we then feel like we have to be above and beyond and perfect, so I don't be that person. I don't want to, but then we hinder ourselves.
You do.
Because you're not going to start out perfect. You're not going to know unless you came from the family with everything. You have the resources and all and maybe you can start out perfect. Maybe some of y'all did.
Small business loan, $1 million.
Maybe you started out perfect. But everybody is not going to start out perfect, and we have to make that start. And I think too, you will appreciate the growth so much more when you went through that struggle.
You do. Even the things I struggle with now, I'm like, this is gonna be so funny in 12 months. It's not funny at all right now. I'm going through it. But the one thing about striving for your own is you really understand that these negatives won't always last. You can be rest assured that right now I'm like, this is terrible, but in my back of my mind, a couple months from now I won't even remember. So once you can stand on that and have that inner confidence about what's going on, as you should in any aspect of life, but it's hard to build that in the current state of clocking in every day and being reliant on somebody else for that. Right. And when you said that, it's just a lot of that's by design. I have my own theories about some things in life, and that's one of them. Is just we're groomed to be that. We're groomed from an early age, and that's why when you said about homeschooling, I think that's amazing because your children aren't going to be part of that systemic,
right.
that systemic kind of cycle.
Right.
But it is like there's so many.
To work for other people.
That's it. Because the ones at the top know that if they're controlling everything that goes on around us, then they win.
Right.
Just like deep down, and I used to tell my Uber customers this all the time. So how's New Orleans? And I'm like, which answer do you want? And and one of the things that I really firmly believe, there's a broken school system in New Orleans to keep the level of education low. If you keep the level of education low for the larger majority of people that work there, then they're only going to do what their parents did or their grandma did, or my grandmother used to clean hotels in New Orleans for ages, for decades. But when she was younger, that's all she could do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because she came up in that era. Well, even to this day, well, I don't know about this day now, but pre-COVID, BC, before COVID, like that was one of the most lucrative places you can work in New Orleans with very little education necessarily back. And you can bartend, you can come do whatever on Bourbon, and you would make a lot of money. So if you keep the education low, you would always have a workforce for your most highest grossing revenue generation, which was tourism. Whether it's from the men from the horses to giving guided tours. Not saying that any of them are uneducated, because I've met so many educated people in this field. Just and one of them, people be shocked. So you got a degree from where, and you're doing what? I'm riding a bike and with this big ass smile on my face. I'm sorry, but that's just how it would feel. But deep down, that's what So there's like even that. Like I feel like that's structured to keep corporations in business. And with me, really going into so many different corporations and so many different fields, from banking to finance to housing authorities to insurance to medical to all these different fields, like I'm started seeing like the underlying premise of what business is really about. And I didn't really want to be that. And to have a young Black person walk in and say, I want to own my own business, because tangibly they were like, I can rent some bikes out. So if I can bring something to the table that's tangible, that helps people understand that it's okay to just do something outside of the norm of business, that's all I'm in it for. Like I feel as though, I get so many younger kids that have seen me grow, that they're still so excited about what I do. And that lets me know that this is not something that it's a phase that you just grow out of. It's something that it's one of those lifelong skills and things that you can enjoy. And just being able to be a facilitator, that it's been amazing. Like I've had more conversations about business now than when I was wearing suits. Because when you're wearing suits, and we all have family that, hell, I didn't come from a family of parents that worked in suits every day. So you can't completely relate to what it takes to get there. But you come to a bike store and you see somebody with a bunch of bikes and some tools, and you can relate to, like, you just take some things around you and make something of it. So it's been a lot of different byproducts and every day. And that's why when I want to get down or I feel bad, I try to remind myself that it's bigger than that. It's bigger than what I might be going through. And I've been blessed to provide outlets during times, like you said, during COVID, during times when nobody else has been able to provide it and flourish. So it has been like, and these types of conversations help. And I'm glad that you're really doing these series, because there's so many people that need to hear it. From a local perspective. We watch YouTube and we watch these other programming, and it's just like, all right, we get it. We hear what you're saying, but it's not as tangible as somebody right there that you can physically go on the corner of 3rd and Main Street and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen that place before, so it does. It's a huge help for people. And I know this was a lot to sit through, and look, we probably could keep going on, but like that's really what I mean. Like, it's worth it. Like I used to, I'll be honest with you. One of the things that I started doing, I got rid of cable a very long time ago. But one of the things I started doing was paying attention to me and what I was going through and what I was feeling. And on a day-to-day basis, I would find one YouTube video on it from a reputable source. One of my go-tos has always been TD Jakes. But there's so many amazing people.
Right.
His message just kind of, his presentation just resonated with me. But there's so many amazing outlets that, you know, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling depression, if you're feeling so many different things, you might not have a place to call, but you got your phone with YouTube in front of you. You know, just make sure that the source is valid. It's not one of these kids things, but Nemo, that's what it was. But there are, like, I used to listen to, you know, when I started talking to my mom about it, my family about it, Dr. Cindy Trim. We went to, I've gone to I've gone to one of her In Your Year Strong conferences. And when I tell you, that was just, it was such an empowering, impactful weekend of just positive growth and prosperity. And, you know, for some reason, we have the stigma of Black church not being okay to be prosperous and be successful and to be rich and wealthy. It's not like that, you know. And I learned a lot of that because that's what God wants for you anyway.
Right.
Because if I'm wealthy enough to open up a bike shop and share that with somebody else, why wouldn't I keep getting blessed? Because I've seen families come in that might not have anything else to do for a birthday party, or I've seen families come in and, you know, I'm gonna say this, but I'm flexible to a certain extent. Like, you know, I would see families come in and they might not have it to spend on that, but you know, give me what you got. Let's make it work. Y'all just go enjoy yourself. Come back and see me. Like that's what my customer service is based on.
But we're not gonna do that on a regular.
No.
We're gonna pay full price.
So that's what, you know.
The real way to support Black-owned businesses is pay full price.
That's it. And you have done that time and time again, so I appreciate it.
People tell me get a bike, but I'm like, this is the only night I come out. And if I have my own bike, I can't support. So I'm gonna pay the price. And even if I have my own bike, I don't want to put it in my car. I'm gonna pay them, and that's my night to support because I don't do the tour. I've done tours, but I'm like, well, since I keep coming back, like I like to do this, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep paying, and I try to get.
And that's been amazing. That's been amazing because, you know, it is, and I've learned that initially when we started in New Orleans, we charged more, and you know, we were being on par with other people, and like, because there's tons of bicycle tourism companies in Baton Rouge. I mean, in New Orleans that do daytime tours and other tours, and you know, but the prices are higher, and even here, my prices haven't changed in 4 years. I might have to change now because somebody dined me out to the tax people saying that they're trying to tax me in some new way that they've never done before. You know, so it's okay. I just pay my taxes and keep going. But you know, it's those type of additives where now I might have to increase my price. But outside of that, like, I felt like I'm not completely. Money wasn't the end goal. It was help me sustain and keep going. But and when you operate from the right perspective and not let money or wealth, greed, any of that dictate your moves, you sleep better at night, and then you really start to see the true essence of what you're bringing. So,
wow, this has been really amazing.
I appreciate it.
And it's clearly so much more than bikes. It's not just about the bikes, folks. And it is the bikes, and the bikes are wonderful, but there's so much more inside of you. And I think, like I said, for people to just take time to just be interested, be curious, learn instead of like shutting down or not even wondering. But I have learned so much from just being curious about people.
I like that because it's so true. Once you are, you'll get jewels you never knew you were looking for.
Exactly. Be curious, not critical, y'all. Come on. And support Black-owned business. So this today I never said it in the beginning, but clearly we're talking about business. We're talking about entrepreneurs. And so we definitely want to encourage anyone who's out there starting their own business, who's beginning that path, to be encouraged. Maybe you're already doing it and maybe you've been burnt out or needed a support system. And that's something we do want to create. And so, you know, there will be some kind of community activity following this, you know, for entrepreneurs. And so that will be more information to come. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I do like to ask everyone before we leave, what is one thing you do for self-care?
My biggest thing for self-care is, I'm not gonna lie, is bike riding.
Yeah, I think.
I had a friend that told me once, I was really getting burnt out this summer. I literally, it's another thing, right? I've been here every day since January.
Wow.
Every single day.
Wow.
I took one trip, and I missed a couple days, but outside of that, people don't understand. Like, I literally would sleep here sometimes. Wow. Because I needed to feel a part of this to grow it into what it has become. Wow. So, when I never feel bad about not, like, I feel like the blessings I'm receiving is because I earned it, Mm-hmm. And God wants you to do your part. Mm-hmm. But that's the one thing I would say has been my stress relief is, he told me, like, when was the last time you rode your bike for you? Mm-hmm. So when I actually got a place here, I wanted somewhere that was convenient for me to ride. Mm-hmm. And that's been amazing. Wow. Because even though I ride on average, like, over 100 miles a week, mm-hmm. It's nothing like me getting up and riding for myself. Mm-hmm. And just, that's my outlet. Mm-hmm. I pray, I listen to music, I decompress, I yell, I do whatever. But I'm just riding around these lakes. Yeah. And it's a reminder that, when you're driving on a car over the lakes, mm-hmm. the water looks how it looks, mm-hmm. and it's not what it used to be, right? You're riding around those lakes and you're just seeing the houses and just hearing you can hear the hustle and bustle of the day to day, but yeah. It's so freeing to just be in solitude. So if you ever call me or text me and I'm on my bike, you're not getting a response. It's nothing personal. It's not you, it's me. I promise. It's never you. But that's honestly, that's really one of the things, is just riding a bike and giving myself more time for myself. Mm-hmm. It's needed.
And then one thing that maybe nobody knows about you.
Oh, wow.
That you don't mind sharing.
Oh, no. And the only reason why it's taking me so long is just because I'm one of those that feel like the answers matter. But one thing that I would say that nobody knows about me is, I think just that the will and determination that I do have when I put something towards it. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone really knew how much time. My mom, she learned over time, like, you're still there? I would wake up and put up lights. I would wake up and put bikes together. Mm-hmm. I would wake up and, and I had to learn that about myself. Mm-hmm. After Katrina, I did cleanup after Katrina. Mm-hmm. And I never thought that I could work the way I worked. It was 7/12s, rain, snow, like whatever. It didn't matter. Whatever, because it was cold. Yeah. So whatever the weather was, I just showed up. And in life, if you just show up, you'll get so much further. Yeah. So I've really learned to appreciate the showing up factor.
That's good. That's good. And you want to say one last thing to entrepreneurs?
Be open and receptive to trying new things. Dig inside yourself to see. Answer that question. What would you do for free? And can you market it? Can you monetize it? And I feel like if I can get people to ride bikes, you can you can definitely do it for yourself. Just keep praying. Live in your honesty. I've learned to, I'm okay with not being somewhere because that gives me aspiration. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with people not knowing what Go Ride is because that means that I haven't lost. People aren't in here because everybody knows they just don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. So living in that honesty, and being prayerful and going the hard road. The quick one comes, but it doesn't last. Mm-hmm. So those are the things I would leave you with.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank y'all.
Everyone. Well, that concludes the series with Charles Daniel on entrepreneurship. So thank you so much, Charles, for all the wisdom that you have shared with us. Thank you for being vulnerable, opening up and being so transparent. I don't know about you all, but I have learned a lot through this process. And what I want you all to do, those who have been watching, hopefully I hope that you have taken nuggets from each of these episodes and that you've made progress in your particular walk of entrepreneurship. Today, what I want you to do is to think about the episode and what your takeaways were. I want you to write them down and see how and what it is that you can apply to your particular life. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur, I want you to examine your life and look at the things that you are already involved in, the skills you already have, the things you already know. I'm not asking you to write what you think you're competent enough in, what you think you're good enough at, what you think you're going to be successful in. I want you to just solely write down the list of things that you enjoy, the list of things that you have skills in, the list of things that you're capable of doing. Anything that you have experience in, then I want you to really begin to look at that list and then break it down and see which one of these areas, if any, is a possible business idea for you. And so just like the lady in the Bahamas, as they shared, they have encouraged their children to have some level of skill, even if it never becomes a major business idea for you, even if it's just always something to make a little extra on the side. It never hurts to try to monetize a skill that we have and to bring in more income. And so I encourage you to do that. And then lastly, I want you all to just think through again the marketing techniques. Are there different things that you can do marketing wise? Then what are some of the roadblocks that you have faced? What are some roadblocks or that you're facing? And so I want you to write those down and then think about if there's somebody who either you can have a conversation with, somebody you can collaborate with, or a coach or someone that you can hire to work with you to assist you in walking through those things. Now, for some of you, you may just need to do some research, do some reading. You may need to be just intentional at looking at the problem and thinking about things that you can do because you may already know the answers to those particular problems. I still want you to look at ways in which you can collaborate with other people, ways in which you can serve and learn and glean from other people. And so that was a lot of different things, but I try to share various ideas sometimes just so that it can kind of appeal to different people because some people are already doing some of this stuff already. And so if you are, I want to say kudos to you. And I want you all to continue to grow, to have intentional conversations regarding entrepreneurship. I want us to be, remember that we can gain vision by serving, helping, or even just inquiring with others. You may not feel like volunteering or serving is the path you have to go, but asking questions, supporting, buying merchandise, and just getting to know entrepreneurs can help set your dreams on fire. So never just remember that. So that does conclude it all for Charles and I's entrepreneurship series. We do have one last community activity that we are planning to do. So be on the lookout for that information. It will be bike rides and beignets, and we will have a topic that we will be discussing regarding business. So once that topic is finalized and the information will be given out to you, and the tentative dates. So be on the lookout for that information. You will find that on my Instagram page at Progress with Portia. I encourage you to please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel. You can also do the same with our website. Make sure you go check out the website, read all up about us, comment, interact with us. And so we look forward to hearing back from you. Again, I'm just excited about the growth and the things that are coming. So next week we have Trey, and I'm going to try to say his last name correctly, Vador. We will hear it correctly on the episode. And so, but he is the Clippers King. And so he is sharing with us a wealth of knowledge about finances. And so I'm excited as he is He's not a financial advisor, so it's not that type of advice. It's more so setting the foundation of changing our mindset and the way we look at and the way we view wealth and finances. So I'm really excited for you all to hear this episode, to hear hear our conversation, and then to participate in the community activity following that. Following his episode, we do have a series that we'll be doing on grief. And so, one of the first ones, we will be talking to a few young African American women who have lost their husband. And so, we will be talking to them about their journey, the grief that they've gone through. It's not going to be all sad. Of course, it is going to touch our hearts, and there is sadness and grief. And we don't have to be afraid of feelings and sadness. But these women are filled with hope. They're filled with inspiration. They're filled with love. And so there is just to see their journey has definitely been a blessing. But grief is something that we don't always fully understand, but we all will experience it. And I think it's worth us exploring the topic of grief a little bit, having these conversations, understanding what it looks like, that we can be a better support to those around us. And also when we're going through ourselves, that we can better understand what we're going through, that we won't be so hard on ourselves, and we can understand that journey. And so be on the lookout for that. I do have a interview coming up with a really great bishop, so I'm excited about that. So be on the lookout for more information regarding that interview. And so now we're going to transition to our dedication segment. This is my favorite part of the show, where we will talk about or share letters from people who have written to their loved ones. So it could be a friend, a family member, a spouse. And it's a time for us to express our feelings to one another, a time to spread love, positivity. It could be a letter of closure, a letter of, like I said, a prayer, letter of encouragement. It could be a letter of forgiveness, whatever it is that you want to express to another individual. It can be creative. You can come on here and share with me. You can be on the video. You can just do audio. You can be on the video with your face covered. And so there's many ways for you to participate. You can send me the letter and I can read it for you. It is definitely something that I have enjoyed being a part of, and hearing people to share and express their love to one another. Those who have been on the receiving end have been very happy and thankful to receive the love, or unexpected love, or acknowledgement. So thank you to each and every one of you who have participated and just shared your feelings. So if you would like to be a part of the dedication segment, please send me your letters, DM me. You can comment on here, or you can write to me at Portia at progresswithportia.com. Again, it's Portia, Portia at progresswithportia.com. I look forward to hearing from you. So this evening, I wrote the letter to my parents. So I said, Mom and Dad, I remember as a child, you two were my protector, my heroes, and I believed that you knew everything. I felt loved by both of you, and you raised me on a foundational belief of God. I think as a child, I held you both on a pedestal, which is why for a season, I had a hard time when the innocent veil was removed from my eyes and the reality of your limitations and your humanness hit me. I really remember being angry in one season, thinking that Mom was refusing to share information with me because she said there were things she said she didn't know. And I remember feeling frustrated, like she knows, she just doesn't want to take the time to tell me. Because in my little brain, I could not fathom my mother not knowing the answer to something. Of course, I grew to realize that was not true. I remember feeling like she just didn't want to take the time to tell me. However, we've transitioned through that season and various seasons. I want to speak to this current season. When my husband left and my world was turned upside down, When my husband left, my world was turned upside down, which in turn also turned your world upside down. Your super independent daughter had to let go and accept help. What you all have been for me in this season and every season, when I look back, have been again my protector, my encourager, my source of wisdom, my comfort, my help, and my help. No one has believed in me and has loved me as well as you all have. There is nothing I could do to repay you for the time, sacrifice, and hard work that you have poured into me and in my life now and throughout my life, but especially in this season. I can't tell you what it means to me, Dad, when you stepped up and had to begin to watch my kids at times. I remember the first time I had to ask you to watch my kids, and your comment was, Portia, you know, the last time I watched a baby was when you was a baby. And my response was, Dad, you know I know that. And if I had to ask you, you know I have nobody else. But ever since then, Dad, I have seen how you have your heart has so softened, and not that you didn't love my children, but that wall came down, and I've seen you um, flourish in your relationship with my children, and it means the world to me. You stepped out of your comfort zone and you did something to help me, and in return it seems as though that you all both benefited from that relationship. It's blessed me to see your heart soften with my children. I appreciate how you have accepted Mom coming over many evenings or unexpectedly at times. And Mom, what can I say for all that you do? You work hard all day, every day. And many times you come over here and you work hard with me and my children, doing whatever it is that we need. You have loved me, you have walked with me, and you have done exactly what I needed when I needed it. And all I can say is thank you. Thank you for ensuring that my children and I are always good. Whatever the need, you have been right there. You all have blessed me beyond words. You have been my angels to help see me through this season. Thank you for everything. I love you both with all my heart, and I couldn't have asked for better parents. Okay, so I'm going to say, as I would when I would read any other letter, wasn't that such a beautiful letter? um, yes, so I'm just so thankful for my parents. As I stated, they have been amazing support to me, and I had to learn how to ask for help. I have been one who has been very independent, wanting to do everything or has done everything for myself. As far as I've gotten older, and did not like to have help or ask for help. And I had to learn how to ask for help. So I hope that someone who is watching this, if you're in a season where you need help, I hope it encourages you, if you don't have the support you need already, that you would go ahead and ask for help. Sometimes we look at the people around us and we see and we think, well, their family's supporting them and they're here for them like this, and my family is never there for me like that. But we don't know what it is that has transpired in those families for them to be there. Specifically in my family, I had to have specific conversations and let them know exactly what I needed. And to let them know what kind of help I needed. And so sometimes we need to be able to say that. Sometimes we assume that people should just know what we need and just be there. But everybody's different, and we live in a very busy world where people are on the go all the time. And if you're used to being independent, people don't just feel like they can step in and do those things. So if you need help, I hope you would rely on that you would ask for help and then let them help. I have learned, the significance and the importance of community in raising children, and the support and the significance of family and community in just having a healthy, thriving life. So be encouraged, anybody who's out there. If you need support, build your support system. If you don't have family, if you're alone, some people have no family, or their family's just completely unreliable. You can create your support network. My support network is not just my parents. It is mainly my parents. But I have other people who have been amazing. And if I didn't have my parents, that I would have to rely more so on them and incorporate them more. But there are wonderful people around us, but it took me letting my wall down and not being afraid and letting people in even when they do things different and it's not exactly how I would do it. and it's been nothing but a blessing for me. So I hope you would do the same. Be on the lookout for the future shows that are coming up. I told you we have some great episodes coming up. I'm looking forward to all of that. And thank you for each and every one of you who continuously tune in. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for those who are sharing this with friends and family. I hope you all are having intentional conversations with those around you, that you're talking about things that we have talked about in the episodes or other topics that matter to you. I hope that you're expressing your feelings with one another. Thank you to each of you who take time to tell me that you watched the episode, that you've enjoyed it, and what it's meant to you. And so that means the world to me, as I am stepping into this new place, as I am growing. Having your feedback means so much. So please, if you've enjoyed anything, please comment below or reach out to me. Again, you can email me at Portia@progresswithportia.com. My website is progresswithportia.com. You can reach me on Instagram at Progress with Portia, on Facebook with Progress with Portia. And if you have my phone number, you can reach me by texting me. I answer to any form of communication. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day.
To money. And like, we tend to focus only on one component of money, and that is using it to spend, right? We don't see it as a seed. We don't see. So I think just culturally, what I wanted to do with my family is show us that, hey, let's stop looking at money as to what it can get us in terms of commerce, in terms of the marketplace, right?